Roger, give me that gun run. Right along that back, baby. Aim hot. Clear hot.
Ladies and gents, how's it going? Random Gary here, back with another Gallantry reaction video. Today it's future commandos and why the Royal Marines are changing. This looks like it's going to be a bit of a quality video. Lots of good cheap kit from the guys here. We have the two books from James Deegan, The Angry Sea and Wanted Pilgrim. Two cracking books, so ready to be signed and sent off to our 3,000 subscriber giveaway. If you check the last video, we'll link it at the end of this one. All you need to do is comment yes, like the video, and be a subscriber, and you're in with the chance of winning. Happy day, sounds good. Let's check this video out. Let's see what's happening.
The Royal Marine Commandos are changing. So I flew out to Gibraltar to find out how and why.
This is very cool, isn't it? So this looks like they're actually out in the streets of Gibraltar. Gibraltar's just a little spot of Britain on the southern end of Spain. A little bit contested. I've been there once. It's a beautiful place. This looks like they're out and about on the streets. Very cool.
Commandos, small, highly mobile, raiding and reconnaissance forces. In the Second World War, commandos spawned famous units like the Special Air Service, the Special Boat Service, and the Parachute Regiment.
My great uncle was in the Special Boat Section, number 1 SBS, which was the full boat troop. I'm gonna try to get enough information together to do a bit of a bit about him. He was involved in a massive operation called Operation Anglo, where they went to Rhodes and stormed an enemy airfield. Just a couple of them. Quite a few good stories from him. Good old Uncle Bill Moss.
But it's the Royal Marines who never dropped the commando name. Even when their roles slowly began to change, and they became less specialised. When Marines started to operate like traditional infantry, and were deployed as battalions to places like Helmand Province.
I was actually awarded my CGC under the Royal Marines. They were still the overarching battle group until the next battle group took over. Cracking bunch, absolutely
Now, though,
brilliant.
The Future Commando Force program is changing that. It's the biggest change to the Marines since those days in the Second World War.
I mean, let's just go back here. The kit and everything they're carrying, it just looks fantastic. It looks like they're carrying DeMarcos. I can't quite see there. But I love this urban kind of setup of pouches on the back and on the rear. So whenever you're stacked up, you can pull out grenades, magazines out of the person in front of you. I've worked with one or two very specialized people in the past to encourage us and got us to do little things like that. And it's the little things that have the biggest impact. That means that if you're the point man and the man behind you needs the replaying off you, you do not need to face away from the threat. You can continue to face the threat. You can continue to do your job without having to go through your pouches yourself or turn around in order to pass them back. Simple little things make all the difference.
Since those days in the Second World War. These Marines are of 4-3 Commando, notable because their primary role is to protect the UK's nuclear deterrent. It means they're trained to operate in confined areas and to operate alone. They're equipped with technology and weapons unique in the UK Armed Forces, meaning they can provide a glimpse at what the future commando force might look like in a couple of years.
The tunnels.
This week, the objective is deep inside the old Second World War tunnels, dug into Gibraltar's rock.
If you ever get a chance, like I say, please go there. I actually went into like a bit of an auditorium, a little kind of amphitheater within them, and they were playing music. It sounded fantastic inside there.
The order set out a series of raids on enemy positions. So we just listened to the first set of orders that 4-3 Commando have had this week, and tonight it's all about subterranean warfare in tunnels. I think it's going to be a long night. Under the cover of darkness, the commandos insert from boats. It's pitch black, and that means we're using night vision cameras to capture the action. The commandos have just landed in this bay, and they're going to make their way up the cliff for an attack on the enemy position. From there, they're patrolling through the streets. Nothing has been closed, so there's civilians along the way. It's surreal to be on normal streets during an exercise like this.
That is very cool, if I'm honest. We used to take the recruits out through Harrogate. It was quite interesting. You could always see who the tourists were versus the locals. The locals were quite used to seeing people out with weapons and running with a load of kit on. The tourists didn't have a clue what was going on. It was like they thought that the flipping World War IV was happening or something like that there. Never mind World War III. They were just flipping hooched around, not quite sure what to do.
In terms of realism, it's always something that's hard to kind of demonstrate to the guys, is when civilians are walking around, when people are coming up to them and asking questions and things like that, when vehicles are driving by. You don't get that on Salisbury Plain, you don't get it in Wakefield police facilities or anything like that. So yeah, Gibraltar's good for that in terms of walking through the streets and, you know, armed, and background noise of dogs barking, people looking out our windows and stuff. It just adds to the realism.
The faint noise of TVs spills
Interesting
out onto the alleyway.
position, that.
The people inside have no idea.
Wasn't quite
there's
tactical.
commandos just outside their front door. Behind me is the entrance to someone's flat. That's someone's home. Normal infantry wouldn't deploy like this, but this is a glimpse at the future commando force. Small, versatile teams, tailored for each mission.
Is that a shield on his back as well?
For 4-3 Commando, that's working in confined spaces with no support, where the stakes couldn't be higher.
Essentially, we're responsible for the protection of nuclear submarines and nuclear missiles, and providing that assurance to allow them to go out and do their tasks on a routine basis. We've got a set mission, so we really focus in on the sort of CQB skills to make sure that we're at the required standard should the operation go live, and we're required, that we're fully adept at operating in that complex environment in terms of office spaces, industrial spaces.
It's that non-stop mission to protect the nuclear deterrent that means these commandos are unlikely to form the initial company in the change program. But their experiences, tactics and kit might help inform how the future commandos operate. The commandos make their way into the old World War II tunnels. So the Marines have made it up the hill, all the way to the tunnel entrance, where they've gained entry.
Now, I'll just go back there a little bit. This looks like a really light, really photosensitive kind of camera that we're looking through. If you watch the Marine footsteps, and if you've ever worked in MVG a lot in night vision goggles, you'll recognize this step. They're lifting their feet very high and putting them down really clumsily. You don't really get that depth perception whenever you're using these kind of MVG. What do you see? Watch the feet. Do you see that feet? Oh. Not far enough. Not far enough.
So the Marines have made it up the hill, all the way to the tunnel entrance, where they've gained entry.
Clumsy.
And they're going to destroy the enemy.
Way darker than it looks. It is shield. Never worked with one of them.
Contact.
Load it, lad! Put it! Lights on! Lights on! Rattle breaks the fire, needed! Pass that door, put yourself in that cover! Move up there! On me, on me!
absolute dicks who set this up, getting them to crawl over that and in through there with all the kit on. But hey, it's reality, isn't it? Not bad drills there in the stoppage, flipping a few other boys coming across and backing him up while he cleared the gun. All right.
It's not long before the tunnel is
Would have been nice to see him get right down and cover. Who am I to criticise, but who am I?
The main sort of difficulty is sort of the narrow and confined spaces of it, but also just the total lack of any sort of form of ambient light. The guys have to be fairly slow and methodical to get through it. Nice and quiet, nice and slow, nice and steady. There's difficulties with sort of the communications of it as well.
What's his battle number? Battle number!
Obviously there's no ability to kind of provide any sort of satellite imagery or anything like that, so for the commandos they are quite literally going into it in the dark a little bit.
They're on that tunnel. Yeah. Roger.
And then, with the objective secured, it's time to extract. A select group of commandos from across the Marines and the Army will form the first future commandos. They'll be known as Vanguard Strike Company, and they'll be the first to have access to new technology and weaponry as they head out on their first deployment this year.
Didn't mention
New
where.
technology like the Throwbot, or thermal camera drones. 4-3 Commando are already using the C8 rifle, but that's because of their role protecting the nuclear deterrent.
It's a good weapon system, it's nice and light, it's compact, it's reliable. Short barrel sort of lends itself really well to not only what we do in 4-3, in those kind of narrow, kind of confined spaces, which obviously plays well in sort of subterranean environment that we've got going on here. It can be fired in both shoulders as well, so the lads can remain in cover. So overall, a good weapon system for here and back at the Faz lane.
It is. The SA-80 gets slagged a lot. It's let me down on a couple of occasions. It's all right. It's quite accurate. I'll give it that. It's quite accurate. It's a bit fiddly on a battle strip if you're taking the block apart, but most rifles are. But no, the C8 is a absolute different level. Didn't use it operationally, experienced it operationally. So one of the guys who was attached to us, he brought one along for shits and giggles and experienced it on quite a few range days. So yeah, cracking rifle. If it was me, I'd be dishing out C8s or 416 Heckler & Koch 416s, man. They're just different level in my opinion.
But future commandos, they'll be using this same weapon system. The purpose of all of this is to offer the UK Armed Forces and NATO a unique capability, self-sufficient, mobile teams with modern equipment, not constrained by the logistical requirements of normal infantry.
That was a big significant thing that I was seeing there was we used to absolutely store up. We would have bandoliers upon bandoliers on us. We would have lots of equipment and day sacks. They just seemed so light and so agile, and it was something that absolutely impacted us a lot in Afghanistan. That ability to move at speed, outmaneuver the enemy, and to get on top of them. We just did not have that with the amount of kit we were carrying. So it was fantastic to see really light scales, extremely light scales, and troops going in with the ability of outmaneuvering the enemy. Fantastic.
Sort of going back to our roots, equipped with the technology of kind of today and tomorrow. So going back to what we did historically in sort of the Second World War, small groups of sort of determined men working at sort of decent reach, going in, sort of sneaking in behind, and then getting out. The lads have to be a little bit more sort of self-sustaining and self-sufficient. They need to be able to look after themselves without that kind of bubble around them of support. They need to be thinking on their feet, they need to be fast. They need to have that initiative and that cunning and dare to seize opportunities when they present itself.
Instead of deploying as a battalion, with all the support that requires, commandos will deploy in teams less than 100 strong. They'll be ready for deployment at a moment's notice, whether for warfighting, commando raids, or providing humanitarian assistance. For 4-3 Commando, the next objective is a village surrounded by cliffs. It's another raid.
Obviously, Commando training is
out.
one of the longest and arguably most arduous infantry training regimes in the world, and we all come out of there with the basic Commando skills. Some of the basic elements of being a Commando haven't changed.
You can see how sensitive that light is there.
So, scaling cliffs, getting to those inaccessible areas that the adversary doesn't think that you're able to reach. Coming from the sea, working at night, conducting raids, moving in and out quickly, taking the enemy completely by surprise, has always been some of the key tenets of the Commando force. We're looking to build on those roots. Future Commando Force looks to integrate newer technologies, and so you'll see out here we've used things like the sort of RPAS, the Throwbot, some of the shields, some of the specific situational awareness and communication systems that sort of augment our basic skills as a commando and allow us to access basic skills as a commando and allow us to access areas, skills, sort of augment our basic skills as a commando.
Sorry guys, I'm just looking to see that little box kit.
Systems that sort of augment.
Times have moved on since I've left. I'm now that bloke being on, oh, not like that back in my day. That bummed. It's out of jealousy. Looks like a fantastic bit of kit. I think I know what it is. But I've never seen that interactive kind of toolbar on the right. Very cool. Very cool. Enough said.
As a commando, and allow us to access areas that aren't traditionally available to other sort of infantry regiments. So Future Commando Force is about honing our skills as a commando and integrating the new technology and the new ways of working to allow us to be more widely utilised across defence.
In the middle of World War II, when these tunnels were in use, the Royal Marines were reorganised as commandos. Now, the commandos are back, returning to their roots. Small teams, operating at reach in all theatres, carrying out strategic raids and then disappearing back into the night.
Ain't gonna lie. Pretty damn jealous. That looks absolutely incredible, lads. I hope yous realise what yous have got, because that looks fun as anything. Ladies, gents, hope you enjoyed the video today. I think I'm gonna get smashed for copyright, left, right, and Chelsea for that one. Let me know what you thought. Remember, we've got the 3,000 subscriber giveaway. We've got the 2 books. What's Pilgrim? Angry Seas, James Deegan, fantastic books. Ex-Special Air Service, hugely experienced operator. Don't forget, all you need to do is click, write yes in that last video. Click the like button and be a subscriber. That's all you need to do, and I'm going to send you a couple of free assigned books. I'll catch you on the flip side, and I'll see you in the comment section. Have a good one. Goodbye.